Alright, next I'm going to reinstall the alternator. Let's move this out of here. While it's still loose and can be moved around, this would probably be the best time to connect your wires in the back. We're going to have two wires. One's a plug, and one is going to be I believe it's a 14 millimeter nut on the back. Nope, feels more like a 12. So I'm spinning that nut off there, finding wire. But once you get the wire and get that on there and get the nut started, then okay, so I got it into this position here where I got the lower part in, and this was sort of lined up. And now that's when I'm going to go ahead and connect the power wire in onto the power bolt here, and then I'll put the nut over top of that. It's actually found that to be easier than trying to do it while it was up in the air, because the power wire is a little bit short to do it while it was all the way up. Okay, after getting the nut started on there, I left it a little bit loose so that while we're finagling the alternator to get it into perfect place, this doesn't lock it down and bend the cable. I did not connect the other connector quite yet. So now that I got it fairly in place, I'm going to go ahead and put my top bolt in. Get the short one in because that was easy enough to line up. Now for some reason my bottom one is really tight. It doesn't seem to want to just slide into place, so I'm going to try to work it in there. Okay, so this is one method. If you happen to have a ball joint assistant remover here, I'm not exactly sure what you'd call it, but here I have enough space on the side of the bushing, and so that the bushing can actually be pushed out, and whenever I tighten up this bolt, it's going to push on the bushing. We'll give this a try. If not, I do believe there's a spot down there I could use a pry bar to also do this. We're going to go ahead and do this real quick though, give it a try. And this ball joint here, I got that out of a kit, and that is from Temu. I will put a link in the description. I haven't yet fully done a review on it yet, but if it seems to work, I'll put the link in the description. as you can see, this bushing is slowly being pushed outward some. It's hard to tell because it's moving very slowly, but you can tell. All right, now we'll go ahead and try to fit that alternator back in. I'll remove this off, get the alternator line back up, and then I'll start it again. Yeah, as you can see, that worked perfect because now the bushing is pretty much pushed all the way back out. You can see how all the further it was in that was causing our difficulties, but now that we got that pushed back in nice and flush, or out nice and flush, it should fit in no problem. Like a glove. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten them both back up, and then we'll get that plug reconnected in the back. Alright, we got the nut started back on there. The way this wire twists around, it can be a little bit of a pain, but it can be done. Just a little bit of patience. That, and like I said, I still have all this stuff here disconnected. Makes it a little bit easier to get your hands in there on the AP1. On the AP2, there's a lot of this stuff isn't here. Makes it a little bit easier. You don't have your throttle cable and stuff all the way out here blocking you. It's just a little less messy. But I have an AP1, so I just found that it was easier to move a lot of this stuff out of the way. And so I'm going to go ahead and tighten up that nut, get the plug inserted, finish tightening up these, and then we'll get on to reinstalling our tensioner pulleys. Alright, this is the new serpentine belt. Alright, so we'll get it started on the AC. Come across the, make sure they're lined up, come across the crank pulley there, come up around the idler, up around the tensions, which we're going to have to loosen that in a second here. So we'll get this back lined up here on our AC, pull it a little snug, make sure that's all in the grooves, which it is. Grooves are still in. The crank pulley coming up over here, just gonna pull that down for now, just sort of pinching here, it keeps a little bit of tension. Get them lined up there. Now you see we're a little bit short, so the trick is come here, pretend you're gonna loosen again, because these are reverse thread, and that will pull this down here. Well, maybe I should have, let's go ahead and do this first, up under here, get that on. Now we can pull this down, pull that down enough, try to work the slack out, and bring that up around. There we go. grooves. If it feels like it's getting a little too tight there, just make sure that you're back in all your grooves here and you're lined up everywhere, like here. Got to pull that out a little bit. After it rotates a couple times, it will straighten itself out, but you do want to make sure everything is in the grooves. But the parts that aren't in grooves, those will even out as long as they're pretty close to where they need to be to start it. You can even hand turn it if you need to a couple times if you feel like it, and then that'll make sure that everything gets lined up before you start it up. That way a belt don't jump. And if you were just here on how to change the bearings on those and replace them, or the serpentine belt, we're done. And with that, if you were here for other parts of changing out the starter solenoid or the starter, then we still have to reconnect the idle air control valve, reconnect our part of our evap system down here. That's what this hose here goes to. It tees in, comes up into here, connects into the manifold. There's a little T down here as well that runs to your evap system down below, and eventually runs to your fuel tank to keep it so whenever your temperatures rise or whatever, your pressure in the gas tank doesn't want to burst out.